So it is that time of year again. It is the end of the year, and today I want to talk about my 10 favorite Roblox games that came from this year. And looking back on it, this year was actually a really good year for Roblox. And so in this video, I'm going to try my best to find games from every genre of Roblox and put them into a ranking of my top 10. Obviously, there's going to be a small bias because I'm a Roblox gore YouTuber or an FPS YouTuber, but off camera, I do play Roblox games quite often that are outside of my genre. Now, the general rule is that these games are Roblox games that came out in 2023 or have had major content updates in 2023. However, there is one game that I probably will mention on this list that I actually played probably the most out of all of these games that aren't actually any of these. You'll know it when you hear it. But let's go ahead and get this started. Coming in at number 10, I want to test the game. Now, I put this in my top 10 because 1, I wanted to keep my genres of game diverse, but 2, I also thought it was a really good spin on one of my personal favorite games growing up. But it's also important to know that this game is not for the faint of heart. This game is difficult. It is painful. You're gonna get mad, but that's what makes the game so good, because once you actually figure out how to do a stage, you get the biggest surge of dopamine ever. We're in the day of age where Roblox obbies are kind of just cookie cutter and copy and paste, but I gotta say, coming out of Roblox in 2023, this is probably the best Roblox obby game to come out, and it's not even close. Coming in at number 9 is actually a newer game, but it's called When The. And if you don't know what this game is modded natural disaster survival. Now, I know it's going to be controversial putting a modded game inside my list here, but when I play this game, I really just have so much fun. I have played this game so many times with my friends at like 2 in the morning, and I don't think I've ever cackled so hard at some of the events in this game. This game essentially takes natural disaster survival and makes it kind of edgy, kind of dark, but it's a little bit funny because if you understand the jokes and the references the game is making, the game is hilarious. And in a day and age where we are kind of striding away from edgy humor, honestly, this game really is just a breath of fresh air. It's not something that's overly edgy, but it's just kind of like right on the line. Coming at number 8 is the game I kind of mentioned in my intro. This game is Football Fusion. Now, the reason why I put this at number 8, even though it's one of my personal favorite Roblox games, is because it doesn't really come out in 2023. This game has been out for years upon years. And in fact, it's actually one of Roblox's oldest sports games. But honestly, there's something about this game in particular that other sports games can't replicate. I don't know if it's like the perfect amount of clunkiness or simplicity, but I never have a bad time on this game. But coming in at number 7 is Helmet. And I know a lot of people are gonna get mad at me for putting Helmet in number 7, but let me explain. Even though I did call this game the best game to come out this year, the game isn't even remotely done and you can't even play it at the moment. But from what we have seen from it, I think it at least deserves a spot on the list. So I thought number 7 would be a good spot because honestly, these next 6 are, well, hard to call. But Helmet is made by the same people who made Dummies vs. Noobs, and it's actually based off the game Ready or Not. And what is unique about this game is actually your camera is actually through the body camera or your helmet camera. It adds to the sense of realism and it really brings up the tension in the game. The game really finds a good way to stress you the hell out. And in terms of its atmosphere, it does a perfect job. Honestly, if this game were to come out in 2024, expect to see it on the top of my list next year. However, let's get to number 6. Coming in at number 6 is Neighborhood War Remastered. And honestly, I wish I could put this higher on my list, but sadly because the game isn't finished and it's not out yet, I can't in good faith put it above some other games that are on this list. However, don't let that distract you from the fact that this game is absolutely amazing and it's an amazing remaster of the original Neighborhood War. This game really does make you question what the hell is going on Roblox. But honestly, that's a good thing. Even though some of the guns aren't necessarily the best, I feel like most people aren't playing for necessarily the guns themselves, but actually the gore that's in the game. And if we're talking about gore, by far the best on Roblox, and it's not even close. So just like Helmet, if this game actually does release next year and it's a finished clean slate, expect to see it higher on the list next year than this year. And also, special shout out to the developer team and moderation team at Neighborhood War because they're the only people that actually really keep me informed about what's going on with their game. Every time the game updates, the developers send me a message, they tell me what it's all about, and I check it out and I usually make a video about it. And honestly, they haven't missed. So just like the meme, hold up, let them cook. Coming in at number 5 is a new game called Bombom Line. Now, this game is one of the newer games on the list and takes everything you know about like search and destroy in Call of Duty or Counter-Strike and flips it on its head. And I say that because this game is one of the only games that ever require you to actually know how to play every position in every gun because the game is a randomizer. There are no meta loadouts. You have to make do with what you have, and that's what makes the game so fun. You're constantly challenging yourself with new guns guns and new play styles each round. And I'm not gonna lie, this game is pretty damn addicting, and I can see why. It's just too amazing. Switching things up, we have Chain. Now, I will say this is the only horror game I featured on my list because one, I don't like horror games. They scare me. And two, honestly, I just felt like it was kind of lacking this year with the whole Roblox horror thing going on. Like just recently, the developer of the FNAF game that was uploaded to Roblox actually had to apologize because this game was that bad. But honestly, I'm probably forgetting about another horror game out there or something like that, and people are gonna go in the comments and tell me how bad I snubbed a certain game. So if I did, I am very sorry. But when I think of Roblox horror games, this is the first game that comes to mind, and it just so happens to be one of the newer ones. And what I love about this game so much is the fact not only is it scary, but it also incorporates Roblox gore into its game, which a lot of Roblox games don't do because Roblox has been really inconsistent with its moderation of gore. But because of this game's level of violence, it adds to the thrill and overall makes it a very scary experience. So I think it deserves number 4. Coming in at number 3, we have On Tap. Now I will say by itself, On Tap really isn't anything too special. By itself, it is just a regular bar. And because of Roblox's new age guidelines, you can actually drink plenty of alcohol and then get into bar fights. But what makes it so special is the fact that it's 17 plus, meaning that there's no children. It's a great place to come hang out and meet people from all walks of life. And when I think of influential games this year, I honestly think On Tap kind of takes the cake for me. And when I was thinking about the best games this year, one of the first games that echoed in my head was On Tap because I played it an absurd amount this year. And as weird as it sounds, David Bazuki's idea of having 17 plus Roblox, honestly, it wasn't a bad one at all. And I expect next year the genre will only grow. But coming in at number 2 is probably the newest game on the list, Blackout. If you've seen my recent videos on this game, it's no surprise that I ranked this so highly because the game is actually really fun. The only drawback is the fact that it's in early access and you have to pay 350 Robux to play it. But if you can get past the Robux, this game is honestly really amazing. The best way to describe it is kind of like Escape from Tarkov, but not really. While yes, it is a looter shooter, it's not necessarily that realistic. But this game has a really good way of just sucking you in.
What do you mean by that?
And once you're in, a few hours will go by and you'll be like, oh my god, I have an English paper to write. And I asked both my editor and my graphics designer what were their favorite games to come from this year. Blackout was always the first response. And after playing it for some hours, I can agree. However, I will disagree with them and say that this isn't the best game to come out of 2023. And I actually think the best game to come out of 2023, and this is going to be controversial, it's Frontlines. Now, yes, at the time of making this, I know there is a lot of drama going around Frontlines, and there's nothing that anybody can confirm yet. However, I have to give credit where credit is due. Frontlines is by far the best game to come out of Roblox, I think almost ever. It gives the experience of a AAA Call of Duty game inside Roblox completely for free. It has the graphics of the newest Call of Duty and the gunplay of Phantom Forces. It is hands down the best FPS I have ever played on Roblox. It's unfortunate, however, it's being slightly tinted because of the drama that's going on around it, but I honestly think putting any other game other than Frontlines at number 1 this year is just a snub. And if we're being honest, I don't think many more games are going to be like Frontlines. And that's probably because the game isn't really that profitable. Considering how much time and effort and cost it does to make each update, let alone the game itself, versus how many little microtransactions are actually in the game, I personally don't think that this is something Roblox would probably want to pursue anymore just because it's not that profitable. I mean, just look at this from Roblox's perspective. You have a game that's worth $500,000 to make, and most likely it probably won't turn a profit due to its lower player count and the lack of microtransactions in the game. Or would they rather spend $500,000 making garbage simulator games that turn a profit because children are easy to fool? Maybe sometime down the future they'll do it again, but until Roblox's mature category grows, I don't think we'll be seeing another game like Frontlines anytime soon. So to wrap things up, 2023 was quite the amazing year for Roblox games. There's a lot of games that I haven't even mentioned that I would like to mention on the list, but they don't really fit in there. And if your game wasn't mentioned on this list, and I have played it before on my channel and I actually liked it, I'm sorry that I just couldn't fit everything into one list. Thank you guys so much for making 2023 my best year ever on YouTube, and here's to 2024 being an even better year. Enjoy the rest of your guys' day, and bye-bye.